Hey, it's Lucy. A few videos back I talked about not being able to separate my personal happiness from my happiness with the progress of my PhD. I need desperately to decouple my happiness from the state of my PhD, and I have no idea how to. This is mostly because, since a PhD takes up so much of your life, it's very easy to feel like your whole life is going wrong when the PhD does. And this leads to a never-ending hamster wheel of stress and pressure that is mostly, but not entirely, unnecessary. It's worth mentioning there is good reason to feel stress and pressure in a PhD, and I'd say a fair amount of both is reasonably healthy, but as I'm sure most of us would admit, and as I certainly did in my video, I feel this way too much, and so I've been trying to come up with coping mechanisms to trick my brain into thinking that my PhD isn't the be-all and end-all as it feels. And one coping mechanism I've come up with is to pretend it's a video game. Hear me out. Inspiration struck a few months ago when I was trying to make that precursor mineral for my experiments. I went to a professor and said, how do I do this? And he said, come back when you have found me some Fe2O3 and SiO2, which are two oxides I could use to make this. And it struck me. This was just like that bit in the Harry Potter PlayStation 1 game where Professor Snape tells you to go and fetch the jar of fireflies from the adjoining room.
Potter, I've never seen such pathetic work. Go fetch the jar of fireflies from the adjoining room.
And there I was, searching on familiar labs, snooping through cupboards, asking high and low, and it was only when I found my jar of fireflies, or my Fe2O3 and SiO2, and took them back to the professor,
I wasn't expecting you back so soon.
that the game could move forward and my PhD could continue. The more I thought about this video game concept, the more fun parallels struck me. Specific ones like dodging questions at the end of talks, or jumping through hoops for your funding body, or being blessed by your supervisor with wisdom and knowledge, or, of course, the big boss battle at the end when you face your examiners. There were also a few more meta ones, like how you probably didn't know what you were getting into when you started this game. It increases in difficulty as you go along. There are parts of it you'll really enjoy, and you'll get a real sense of achievement and obvious checkpoints where you know you're getting better. But then there'll be times when you're a bit lost without any direction, or you're stuck on a problem for weeks, you don't know what to do. And there'll be times when you just want to set the controller down and walk away and do something else for a while. The reason I like this metaphor for a PhD so much is because, as I said before, it's so hard to distinguish your life from your PhD. And I think taking that step back and seeing your project for what it is, and that's a voluntary commitment that you've taken probably for good reasons like wanting to, I think that's a really good way to relieve some of that self-inflicted stress and pressure. Because a lot of the time, I really love my life as a PhD student. I mean, I forget that the moment anything goes wrong, but I still get to work the hours that I want. You know, I get to work with intelligent, passionate people. I get to feel like I'm getting better at something every day. I get to stare at pictures of Mars and get paid for it. When you're always feeling stressed and pressured, as I often am, then you're just waiting for it all to go wrong and for it not to be enough and for you not to be enough. You can't enjoy those little things, and that's just silly. The video game metaphor makes everything seem calmer. If your chemistry's on hold because you haven't figured out how to make that solution yet, that's okay. It's probably just one of those levels you get stuck on. You might not have collected enough beans yet. What are the beans a metaphor for? Results. Results. If you're feeling hounded by a deadline, just keep going at a good pace. Watch out for the lava. You might find hidden projects and internships behind closed doors, but you don't have to defeat the flying books if you don't want to. And hey, one last thought. If this is a video game and you're the main character, you've probably got your own future. Thank you for watching. Take care until next time. I mean, I did say in my Making a Piece of Mars video that I work with temperatures higher than lava, but this is not what I meant.